Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are enjoying your day. So I want to talk a little bit about, in light of the Diddler case, a little bit about black male fragility. I am noticing a lot of, as well as I'm sure a lot of you, especially black women, are noticing a lot of black male apologists when it comes to this Diddler case in particular, right? And I want to talk a little bit about black male fragility, because I think that, in my opinion, this is my point of view, that I think that a lot of these black men kind of identify, unfortunately, with what the Diddler has done to Cassie, in my opinion, right? Let me explain. There's a couple of things I've noticed, but there are no excuses in trying to justify anything that any man does, no matter race, ethnicity, or origin. A DV abuser is a DV abuser, right? But when it comes to the fragile, sensitive nature, when it comes to dealing with black men and stereotypes, black men and traits that people have put on some of them, they tend to, instead of them wanting to condemn or correct the depravity, the deviancy that's going on, especially in this Diddler case, they tend to apologize for it. And it's not only the Diddler that they're on here apologizing for, it's also, I've noticed them on here, several younger men making excuses for DDG, and what's going on between him and Haley Bailey, right? Halle Bailey, right? So I mean, and then women got to understand, this video is mostly for women, especially younger women. You women have to realize that in this day and age, a lot of these men just simply don't like you. Okay, they feel inferior to you. They feel like they want to clout chase off of you. Some of them want to be you. And especially when it comes to dealing with trauma, some of them may have childhood trauma, but all of that is no excuse. Some of them may have been raised without fathers, but all of that is no excuse for advocating for a DV, an alleged DV abuser. There is no excuse for taking up for or siding with any type of abuse. And it's not only men; it's a lot of women as well, right? When it comes to women, women are very catty, and in this Cassie situation, I think they see her as this beautiful girl, and she might have been a gold digger. She was worried about her career. It was consensual because she was having a good life. But no, I don't see it that way. I see it as a full on predatory grooming DV situation. If there is a reason why a lot of these older men like to prey on younger women. Cassie was 19 when she first got with that older man, and I believe that that older man, in my opinion, gifted her to Diddy to further his career as well, right? I can't think of his name right now, but whatever his name was, I did a video about it. But anyway, there's some of the more prominent one person on her in particular really surprised me. When it came to these apologies that are being made to the things that were done to Cassie, and that's Willie D Live, But I have known for a while now, in my opinion, that Willie D Live is a misogynistic pig, and this is just my opinion, right? This is my point of view, but some of the commentary that I've heard from him really like turned my stomach, and it's really so dysfunctional. Because you got to realize, being from our age, and he is around Diddy age as well, as am I. They tend to, probably associate what happened, because Willie D. Live is supposed to be a rapper as well, right? So maybe they were participating in some of the same things, not so maybe he didn't go as with as far out as the Diddler did. I mean, my goodness, he's a whole demon, right? But he's clearly misogynistic. He's clearly a female black woman hater, and a male black woman hater, in my opinion. And he's very manosphere minded, and it's not only the way that he speaks derogatorily about Cassie, because clearly she is a victim, in my opinion. It's the way that he speaks. He's morally corrupt, in my opinion. Just as well as Diddy and the whole DDG and and whoever else, whatever else, man, is speaking derogatorily about a woman. I even seen, that they've got this thing. I did a video on my other channel. I heard the term, we all are familiar with the manosphere, right? There was even a movie on Netflix called Adolescence about this little boy that was online all the time, and he started listening to this manosphere rhetoric, and he unalived this little girl, and he was like 12 or 13 years old, had never really even had a girlfriend, no bad interaction with women or anything, but because he was, radicalized, online via this hate for women, it caused him to do that, right? So when you see a lot of these black men in particular, and they have for decades online, had this, they've been given a platform, where they can, just let the world know how much they dislike black women. Not all black men, but some of them, but a lot of gay and straight, right? So when you see somebody like Diddy and you see all these black male apologists, this is just simply another manosphere minded individual. He hates women. He wants to be a woman. He can't make up his mind, right? There have been some very disturbing testimony via this Diddy trial about all the things that, he did not only to Cassie, but to other men, right? And so a lot of them, and today, even when it comes to gay men, and transgender women, they still have that basis, that undertone of misogyny, and hate for the black woman. And you really have to ask yourself why. And I've come to the conclusion there are several reasons why. I'm sure that they have some of them may have not been raised up with their father. And if they were raised up with the father, they were raised up with a misogynist father, an abusive father. Some of them don't, they follow behind Anglo male patriarchy. The woman can never do anything right. All of this is an abusive mentality. And I just want you women to know that you have to demand your respect, and you do not have to lay down and take anything because you feel like you love this person. Like Kay Michelle said, honey, you can't change a man, right? He already grown. What you gonna do? All right. You wonder why he act like a boy. It's because he wasn't raised right before you, right? And so, but even that is not an excuse. You have a choice. God gives us free will. They have to choose to put this hate in their heart, towards women for whatever reason, whatever the excuse is. A lot of you see a lot of black men online talking about they feel like black women have it better in this country in particular, than they do, simply because they are women. That is not true. Women work harder. There are a lot of single women in this world, and a lot of a lot of black women that choose not to have kids. They have a higher rate of education. And even in the white collar world, when it comes to the black man and the black woman, even if the black woman is more educated, patriarchy and misogyny will come into play. And even though that black man is not as good as that black woman, he will still get paid more than she is, even if he is in a lower position. So like I said, it's a choice. You got the right to choose to be a misogynist or not. So you women really need to look out for people. You need to start following your mind and not your heart, because the femicide rate among black women is way too, and women being assaulted and DV'd, at the hands of these men in particular. At the basis of it all is the fact that they simply don't like you. Okay, and I think that it's time for the women in general, not just, let me just preface this by saying also, not preface it, but let me also add that it's not just black women, it's all women of all ethnicities and races across the board. You have to learn how to start leading with your mind and not your heart. And you have to set boundaries and keep boundaries, right? Your number one boundary before love should be respect, mutual respect, right? You should not coddle these people. You have a lot of successful black women, even I've seen it online in particular, ended up with bottom shelf brads. Like this one woman on her one family King of Queens, I believe it's called, that Rose girl, you would think that that Anglo man is taking care of her. No, she is the breadwinner in that family. Okay, because she met up with herself a bottom shelf brat. See, that is not respecting yourself. That is wanting. That is you wanting to live out a fantasy as opposed to the reality, right? So I'm all about the reality. There's also issues with some men deal with trauma, but that is what therapy is for. This therapy should not be putting their hands on a woman that they say that they love, which they really don't. And you really got to look out for the DDD types. Types, especially if you are doing better in your career or making more money or making more moves than they are, because you will turn into a cloud chase, right? I've noticed a rise in a lot of male gold diggers, right? A lot of people like Mary J. Blige's husband. I think he only married her, to get, part of her, finances or whatever. Sherry Shepherd, she married a whole gold digger. He had her, agree to having a surrogate for a child. Then he divorced her and he wants child support from her, right? You know what I mean? Just all the stuff like that. The girl from The Bachelor, Rachel Lindsay, she married a bottom shelf Brad, and they didn't have a prenup, and he ended up walking away with half of her earnings. And so it's all of things like this, ladies, especially black women, that you have to think about when you're entering into a relationship, no matter your age. You know what I mean? And everybody, Shirley Strawberry, we see what happened with Shirley Strawberry. The list goes on and on and on. And as far as young women, especially if you're young and beautiful, you got to, especially if you're coming into, you want to be a star, or you gotta be careful when you start twerking around in the synagogue of Satan, because honey, it's just a pitfall. Poor little Halle Bailey, she's doing everything she can to protect her son. I think her sister is already corrupted. There's nothing good that comes out of that industry, in my opinion. Everybody has to pay a price, right? And so, but as far as women, this video is for you, honey. Sometimes you just have to not lie to yourself and realize that, honey, they just don't like you, right? And let this perfect example of Cassie, this what you see going on with this Diddy trial, is really commonplace, right? It's commonplace when it comes to a lot of DV abusers. It's commonplace when it comes to a lot of ex workers and what they've gone through and what they go through, because the cycle of violence, the cycle of DV, has many layers to it. And at the bottom of all that, at the root of all of that, is first they love bomb you. They trauma bond with you. They want them to feel sorry for you. Women have a very, loving and nurturing nature about themselves. We are mothers, right? Or even if we are mothers, we are still feminine. We have a lot of feminine energy, and they will play on you and manipulate you and turn on you and just treat you really bad. And hopefully, it won't get so far as Cassie. It did with Cassie, but there are a lot of layers to this story. But let this be an alarm, for you women. You have to be careful in this world, especially in this world, because you are seeing things play out right in front of your eyes. And I hope that you are paying attention, not only to Cassie. I feel like, in my opinion, that the DDG guy may have allegedly got Halle Bailey pregnant on purpose, right? Because he is envious and covetous of her career. He is a YouTuber, and Halle pretty much, has a contract with Disney or whatnot, right? So we know that, and then she's a little mermaid, for goodness sakes, okay. And so you got to recognize the cloud chase. You have to tell the truth to yourself, And then not only that, he knew that she wasn't on birth control. And that's another thing. You should always be in control of your own contraceptive. I don't care if you are vegan or not, honey. You better protect yourself, because you can end up with a child's father like a DDG. All right. That ain't nothing about nothing but a clout chase. See, it was never about the boy. In my opinion, this is my point of view. It was always about the clout chase. All right, but you have so many black men in particular apologizing for these reprobate demons. You know, like a Diddler. You know, like a R. Kelly. You know, the list goes on and on and on, and pretty much half the time they are embarrassed about it, but they want to save face, but they want to blame everybody else. They want to blame the world. They want to blame racism. They want to blame this, that, and the other. But the thing that they don't want to do is take accountability for themselves or the situations. It is not necessary for whatever you went through in your life to become a DV abuser, a he-man black woman hater. Okay, a woman hater. If you feel like you hate women, whether you gay, straight, or indifferent, why don't you do like MGTOW does and go your own way? Because MGTOW means men going their own way. These days, in my opinion, a lot of them want to be with each other anyway. So why don't you just leave women alone and go your own way? And women, why don't you start being wiser and stronger and start demanding your respect? You can find a lot out about anybody on the internet these days, and perhaps you should start. There are a lot of online places that you can pay to at least do a record check on people. At least especially if you are or whatever your walk in life is. It's better to be safe than sorry. That's all I'm trying to say at the end of the day. And I want you women to be safe out there and pay attention to what's going on right there, right now. And hopefully, instead of you trying to make an excuse or an apology for this, you will take a lesson from it and be smarter and more protective of yourself when it comes to you, because you matter. You come first in your world, right? And we are all deserving of dignity and respect. And you don't want to end up like a Cassie where your dignity and your respect, self-respect, your dignity, your self-worth, is taken away from you because they want to break you. And when they think that they have broken you, and that's another thing. I heard a term, break a beat culture. I was like, break a beat culture. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So now they don't want to say manosphere anymore. They don't have Kevin Samuels anymore. So now they're calling it break a beat culture. Is that even a thing? It's absolutely disgusting to me. But anyway, I just want you women to think about this and be safe. And that's all I got. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. And I'm going to talk to you guys later. Bye bye. Peace.